Hey, Travis.
Yeah.
What time is it?
Time to mock and roll.
Yes, we're back again.
Hey, let's pump up the volume.
Right here.
Today we're doing a 12-team half-point PPR mock draft. We have 1 quarterback, 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs, a tight end, a kicker, and a defense, 5 bench spots. Let's go.
Austin, welcome back, dude.
Thank
back
you.
on the
Dude,
show.
thank
How
you.
you been, man?
I've been good. I've been out of just in laying low, growing this mustache.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I must ask you
that
how you
mustache
feel
isn't
about
laying
that.
low. I mean, that
You got to put work into it. It doesn't just grow without you doing anything. So if you think you can just sit around and make it happen, it doesn't.
Yeah, you have to put a concentrated effort into that.
Yeah.
And it looks like you put a lot of work into that.
Just concentrate on it.
exactly.
It's growing more now while we're on the air.
Hey, now we all have some facial hair. This is. Was it because you saw the Face app and like aging yourself? You're like, oh, how did that look with that stash? I've
It
yet to
looked
see a
Bristled.
gristle.
It was gristled.
Dude, the Face app hates me. Like genuinely. Like it ages me so bad. Like this whole time I thought my youth was like a good thing. Like everyone always was like, oh, you look like you're 12. And I was like, yeah, I kind of do if I shave. And now I'm like, I'm going to definitely need to shave when I'm older because if that Face app is accurate, man, it's pretty, I look hideous.
You're going to go from like facially 15 to 75.
Exactly. Just like that in a heartbeat. So...
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though, it doesn't do anybody as dirty as it does the women. Like, I feel so bad. Like, it just rocks them on this thing. Like, you're like, oh. And, like, the guys come out and they got, like, all this nice, like, the silver fox thing going on. And then the women get on there. They just, it looks bad.
Dude, mine is not silver fox. Mine is, like, for some reason, it just wants me to have blonde hair, bro. Like, I don't get it. It's like Santa. I look like Santa or something. It's insane.
Well...
Yeah, that thing was a real check of mortality.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, we're going to jump into this mock draft, but as always, we like to let Austin decide our positions right before we start. So randomly, Austin's going to go ahead and tell us where we're drafting here.
I'm going to go ahead and reach in the bag here. Johnny is 8th. Travis is 4.
Wow. All right. This is awesome. I'm excited for this. As well, Whisper Nation, if you like this mock draft, please jam that like button and subscribe on YouTube. If you're following along on there, you'll be able to see all of our picks as well as all the other picks on the board. And also, we are going to straight up I'm going to be using the draft kit that we get or that you can get, Whisper Nation, at thefantasywhispers.com. Go on there, check out the draft kit, over 115 player profile, 115 pages, should I say, jam-packed with a bunch of stats, player breakdowns, all that stuff, targets, everything. It's great value. Everything. $10 on the fantasywhispers.com. I'm going to be using it right now in this mock draft. Are you guys ready?
Let's do it.
Stoked.
All right.
That's very good.
All right. We're drafting on Sleeper, which we like to do. I'm going to begin this draft.
Christian McCaffrey, first off the board, followed by Saquon Barkley, Alvin Kamara. Big Travy, your pick at 4. What's going through your mind right now?
I just can't believe the value I got with Zeke falling to me at the 4th spot here. Definitely one of my consensus number 1 overall, able to get him at the 4th spot. So
nice steal there. You saw DeAndre Hopkins go after that, followed by David Johnson and Melvin Gordon. Johnny here at the 8th spot. What's going through your mind? You thinking running back? You thinking wide receiver? You thinking best available?
You're still thinking about the Face app?
Yeah, I'm still thinking about the Face app. No, I'm looking at my rankings here, and the wider where I'm at in my running backs, there's a definite tier drop here. So I am going to go with my number 1 wide receiver I have, and that is Devontae Adams. I will take him in the 1st.
Nice. Last year's number 1 wide receiver. Great choice there, followed up by Michael Thomas, Le'Veon Bell, James Conner, and Julio Jones to close out the 1st. First pick in the 2nd, Dalvin Cook, followed by Todd Gurley, Joe Mixon, Odell Beckham. Back to Game Time now for your 2nd round pick.
So this is fantastic for me. Might put me behind the 8 ball a little bit for the upcoming rounds, but this is a half-point PPR league. So it actually ended up falling where I have Juju as my number 2 overall wide receiver. So I'm able to grab both my number 1 and number 2 ranked wide receiver. I will start my draft off with that. We do start 3 wide receivers in this as well. So that gives me a lot of flexibility with finding that third wide receiver.
Definitely added weight with that. Absolutely. We saw Nick Chubb go off, and then Aaron Jones, Damian Williams, and now Big Travy here, second round pick. Travis Kelce.
Yeah, I'm taking Travis Kelce here. I'm gonna try
Austin's
and
shocked right now. He gave you a look, dude.
Here.
That stash.
Wasn't a bad one.
That stash was staring your beard down.
I like it. What do you think about this? You trying to go with getting a couple of elite players?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with a strategy we talk about quite a bit here called the 3 elites, where you want to just anchor your team with guys you know are going to produce on a weekly basis. And I'm actually going to go full here. Obviously, we advise that you wait on quarterback. That's a strategy we like to do. There's a lot of depth in the back end of the quarterback position, but I am actually going to go against the grain here, kind of see how my team shakes out to show you, Whisper Nation, how it would shake out as well if you were to kind of draft the big names. And I'm going to go ahead and take Patrick Mahomes here in the 3rd round to round out Zeke, Travis Kelce, and Pat Mahomes as my 3 elites.
It's an exciting 1, 2, 3 there, no doubt. After Patrick Mahomes, T.Y. Hilton off the board, followed by Derrick Henry, A.J. Green, and now Johnny over here. What are you thinking about? Who do you like here? Devontae Freeman, Kerryon Johnson,
So this is insane. I'm in a very big pickle right now. I'm staring, and I'm gonna have to talk myself off the ledge here because I should go according to what I need right now. I need a running back. Devontae Freeman is still on the board. He fell to me. I have him as my number 10
Austin's
overall.
favorite.
Number 10 overall running back. So it'd be an RB1, in the 3rd round for me, which would be great. But Tyreek Hill is still on the board. And
Johnny, you have to start other positions.
And I know, but I start 3 wide receivers, and I'm talking about, according to your rankings, Big Travy, you have Tyreek Hill as your number 2 overall wide receiver. I don't have him quite that high, but starting a draft with Devontae Adams, Juju, and Tyreek Hill, that is something that I can possibly supplement my running back situation here. And you know what? I don't do this often, and so I'm going to actually do this because I want to see what it would be like. So I'm going to
try it on for size.
I'm going to take Tyreek Hill in the 3rd and lock up those 3 wide receivers.
There they are. We saw Amari Cooper go, followed by George Kittle, Kerryon Johnson, Devontae Freeman, finally, David Montgomery, Phillip Lindsey, Robert Woods, Julian Edelman, and now back in the 4th round. Are you going to grab another wide receiver?
He can't do it.
Depends.
Yeah, it depends. Let's Stephon Diggs. Now that's not a bad option. So weighing that, right? So just seeing that, I could have taken Devonta Freeman and Stephon Diggs could have fallen to me in this next round. Do I like that as much as the 3 wide receivers and possibly the running back I'm going to get right now? Hindsight, yeah, probably.
You're saying taking Devontae Freeman in the 3rd and then have Diggs available in the 4th?
Yeah. I would probably go with that over what I'm staring at right now. We got Sony Michel, Mark Ingram, and Josh Jacobs. To me, I'm gonna go Mark Ingram here. I think he's well. Actually, let me check my rankings for sure.
Johnny's rankings, which he's pulling from the Fantasy Whispers 2019 draft kit, which of course you can find at thefantasywhispers.com. We spent a lot of time crunching these numbers, looking at plays ran from the team level, and then statting out rushing and target market share there.
Yeah.
So Johnny did go with Mark Ingram.
Zach Ertz after that, Josh Jacobs, Kenny Galladay, and now here in the 4th round, Big Travy. Guy we were talking about, Stephon Diggs, grabbing your ear.
Yeah, I'm going to take Stephon Diggs as my first wide receiver.
I like that.
So I'm really excited about his upside to actually take over the number 1 role there in Minnesota this year.
Brandon Cooks went off the board after Andrew Luck, Chris Carson, Sony Michel, Kenyon Drake, Calvin Ridley, and now Big Travy's 5th round pick. What are you thinking? Are you still going for best available here in the 5th round, or are you trying to shape out your team?
Well, we'll just kind of look at this. I could look at best available here. This is the sticky point when you do this. When you go with the top heavy team, you may be forced to just kind of stack a bunch of players. to try and get somebody to pop through. I'm going to take Tevin Coleman here. I think he's got a great shot, a good relationship with Kyle Shanahan, and a good shot to come out as the lead back in a San Francisco team that I'm projecting to bounce back in a big way from last year, especially with a healthy Jimmy Garoppolo in the offense.
We saw Cooper Kupp off the board, then Chris Godwin followed by Deshaun Watson. Johnny's pick is up now, and before we jump into this one, I just had a real quick question here about the thought process behind taking a guy like Tevin Coleman, who is going to be in a committee, at least in the beginning. There's some question marks over in that system. Why did you go with Tevin Coleman over a guy like Lamar Miller, whose touches might be more
because
guaranteed?
Lamar Miller's his touches are pretty much solid. We do know that Donta Foreman is back and getting rave reviews in the offseason.
Always working.
So we do think that there may be a situation there. But for me, Tevin Coleman's upside in that offense is a lot higher than Lamar Miller. Lamar Miller's been in a really good offense the last 2 years and still only been, a middling running back that you're never upset. Yeah, you're never upset what he does. But like Coleman's got some really nice upside to be an RB1, frankly, because that's what Kyle Shanahan has done with his running backs. He's been around the RB15 range. Yeah. And so there's some upside there for me that I liked with Coleman.
Thanks for sharing the insights there. Johnny, now what are you thinking here for your 5th round pick?
So 5th round, you've got, I'm looking at the running back position here. I do like O.J. Howard, but with me still only having one running back and Mark Ingram, there are some guys that I do like. So actually, you know what? That is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and grab O.J. Howard. I love O.J. Howard this year, and I also am not extremely high on the next 3 running backs, 4 or 5 running backs that are going to be off the board. So I'm much more of a fan of like Rashad Penny and Latavius Murray and Miles Sanders even. So I'm actually going to take value here. Which is nice the way that I've kind of set this up. So I'll take O.J. Howard, lock up my tight end position, and then look to see which running backs fall to me in this next round. And see
the players that are not going to be available for you are James White, Tyler Lockett, Hunter Henry, Aaron Rodgers, Mike Williams, Baker Mayfield, Lamar Miller, and Jarvis Landry. Those ones are off the board. You got some pieces here in the 6th round, but it's starting to get a little bit thin. It's starting to get a little less guaranteed.
It is. And so for me, I'm looking at, I need something solid. I don't need a guy who has yes, the upside is definitely there, but the way I've shaped it, I don't need a high impact guy in order to make this work. So right now I'm deciding between Rashad Penny and Latavius Murray. I'm extremely high on Latavius Murray this year, but he will have more of that, running role there. Whereas I'm going to take Rashad Penny, which does give me a little bit of upside here. So I definitely leave the door open for that. But he also gives me what I think I need in a solid floor at the running back position as my running back 2. So I take Rashad Penny.
Nice upside play. Alshon Jeffrey, Evan Ingram, Tariq Cohen went off before Travis's pick here. What led you to pick DJ Moore?
So DJ Moore is a guy that really broke out and showed that he was a first-round pick for the Carolina Panthers in the back half of last year. We've seen what this offense wants to be under Norv Turner. It wants to be put the ball in the hands of the playmakers and not force Cam to throw it down the field a ton. DJ Moore is a guy that I project to be the number 1 in this offense and with some really nice upside in that offense, which actually projects to run more plays than it did last year as they get into year 2 of that offense. So really stoked on DJ Moore.
Nice. We saw after DJ Moore, Eric Ebron, Tyler Boyd, Darrell Henderson, Robbie Anderson, Dante Pettis, Darius Geis, and now back to you, Travis, 7th rounder. At this point, in the 7th round, you're in the middle here. Are you starting to think about what's going through your head on this one? Are you still trying to put talent together? Are you trying to complement?
Yeah, here's the thing. I waited a little on wide receivers, so I feel like in order to protect my wide receiving core, I probably have to go wide receiver again here. Mm-hmm. So I'm really in between Sammy Watkins and Allen Robinson for me. Mm-hmm. And if I'm really being honest about the progression of Mitch Trubisky and if this offense can take the next step, I like Allen Robinson here. So I'm going to go ahead and draft him because I think he's got a clearer path. The story's a little more clear if you're talking about if Sammy Watkins or Allen Robinson makes it as a number 1 wide receiver. And
There's no reason
take
Allen Robinson shouldn't be.
Right. And we've seen him do it before. Granted, it's 1 year in Jacksonville, but I think that there's some things here. Another year with Mitch Trubisky to work in that offense. Remember last year in the offseason, he missed some time coming back. So I really like Allen Robinson.
I'm a big Allen Robinson fan this year too. Jared Cook went afterwards, followed by Sammy Watkins, Latavius Murray, and now Johnny's pick in the 7th round.
Johnny.
Right before.
I know. I was really hoping that he would end up falling to me. But I was deciding between him and I'm going to just continue to stack running backs here, taking as many shots as I can, considering where my wide receivers are. So Royce Freeman, running back for Denver, I think that he can emerge as the lead running back there, and he's got all the talent in the world. I'm a big fan of his, and so I'm going to go ahead and take him.
Phillip Lindsey make you nervous at all?
No, I think that Phillip Lindsey was such an anomaly, and he really defined a lot of odds last year. And I'm not saying that he can't do it again. I think that they're very complementary of each other, but I think that this is a coaching staff that's going to lean on Royce Freeman a little bit more than what he was last year. And he proved that last year. Listen, he averaged over 5 yards a carry. He had a lot of touchdowns last season. So he certainly can be that running back. You just had like this feel-good story of Phillip Lindsey. And I think that coaching regime is now out. And so now it's like, all right, we're going to really dive into these, what makes us a better football team. And I think Phillip Lindsey's role will regress from what he had last year.
Okay, so there's the justification there. Afterwards, Matt Ryan went off the board, Drew Brees, Christian Kirk, Jordan Howard to close out the 7th, started the 8th with Vance McDonald, Will Fuller, Sterling Shepard, LaShawn McCoy, back to Johnny now, 8th round pick.
So I'm a little torn. I'm a little torn here. Again, I'm going with the same strategy. I'm going to just continue to stack running backs, and there's a couple of them here that I like. Miles Sanders, dealing with an injury currently, but he projects to be the pass catcher in that offense with the ability to run up the middle. I like his upside. It's a lot. They did
bring Darren Sproles back. He decided to re-sign with the Eagles.
Stop trying to talk me off of that. I know what he's doing. I know what he's doing. He's trying to have me pass on Miles Sanders so he can take him in the upcoming picks right now.
I'm just laying out facts for the Whisper Nation here.
Johnny
wants to misconstrue it here.
All right, we'll put it to the test here. I'm going to take Austin Eckler, actually, third down specialist for the Chargers, who's actually been a very stud running back. Extremely high on Austin Eckler. And, and look what we had.
So we saw Austin Eckler taken by Johnny, and then Larry Fitzgerald, Marvin Jones, Carson Wentz off the board, setting up Big Travy to take his boy.
Yeah. I knew it. See, Whisper Nation, you can't.
How does Darren Sproles factor into that decision for you, Travis?
Darren Sproles is going to be a factor. A lot of these backs are going to be a factor in Philly. Jordan Howard is there. He could definitely poach some work. I have Miles Sanders here in the 8th round as my 3rd running back, so it's a little dicey to have to rely on him in some capacity as that guy. But this is what I know. I know the Eagles are really good. Their offensive line is really good. They are going to run a lot of plays in this offense and have a lot of tempo, and more plays means more opportunities, and there may be enough of a pie for a couple of these guys to eat. And I think Miles Sanders is the one guy you could say is well-rounded enough to do all of the roles in the running back room for Philly. And so the upside alone there is there for Sanders. Maybe he needs an injury ahead of him, or maybe he just needs to ball out for a couple games before they realize they need to start giving him the rock more.
If it does happen, that's going to be a serious piece.
Yeah.
After that, we saw Kyler Murray go, Ronald Jones the 2nd, followed by Kareem Hunt to close out the 8th round. David Njoku, the Chicago Bears defense, first D off the board. Jalen Samuels, and now Travis's 9th round pick. Kansas City.
So I'm taking
Carlos.
I'm taking Carlos Hyde. Obviously, I am a truther for Damian Williams. I believe that he is going to be the guy here, but let's not make any mistake that there's been a kind of turnover in the Kansas City Chiefs running back position and their room. So it was Spencer Ware until it was Kareem Hunt, and then it was Kareem Hunt until it was, Spencer Ware again, and then it was Damian Williams. And so there seems to be some things that happen with this offense. If you have a guy like right now, I'm trying to stack some lottery picks at the running back position. guys that I think have tremendous upside to be league winners. And Carlos Hyde is a guy that's being slept on as far as a guy that has tremendous upside should anything happen to Damian Williams. And I don't think it has to be injury. Yes, I know that they extended Damian Williams in the offseason, but they also extended him for very cheap. It's a very team-friendly extension. And so I think the thing is, there's a lot of guys in that Kansas City coaching room that like Carlos Hyde. And they brought him in. They gave him some good money too. And so I think Damian Williams doesn't just have to get hurt for Carlos Hyde to see the field. And Carlos Hyde could be a situation that he ends up taking over. But I believe in Williams, but Hyde's upside's there.
Hear that. Russell Wilson was taken afterwards and Cam Newton following that. Geronimo Allison off the board, setting up Johnny's 9th round pick in the 8th spot.
All right.
What do you think about
I've taken.
What do you like?
I've taken. I like where I'm sitting right now as far as my whole team, and so I'm actually going to draft a guy that I'm really just high on, and I want him on my team, so I'm going to draft him. My wide receivers, they're going to have a bye week. They're going to have a bye week. So I got to at least get one more wide receiver and look on the old draft log here. And I've got Marquez Valdez-Scantling available. So that's a nice little insurance policy that I'll park on my bench there. Field trade offers from Big Travy consistently throughout the year for him wanting to get him on his squad. And then this just... Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just thought you were going to take Nikhil Harry. I thought he was your boy.
I'm a little nervous for Nikhil Harry actually this first year, and especially with the news that is coming out of training camp about how he struggled during mini camp. So I mean, certainly I am really terrified more so of the Tom Brady fallout and father time. I think that this could be the year it actually happens. So. Fading
Staying away. All right.
So then comes. Sorry.
So rounding out the last picks there had Nikhil Harry, D.D. Westbrook, Cortland Sutton, D.K. Metcalf, Corey Davis, Damian Williams, Damian Harris in the 10th round, not Damian Williams in the 10th round, Jacksonville Jaguars defense, and Jared Goff. Now, Johnny, you got your 10th round pick here. What are you balancing Marquez Valdez-Scantling out here with?
I'm actually gonna get a guy who I agree with Big Travy. I can definitely see him taking over this backfield, and all the news and the hype around him has followed suit. So Donta Foreman, I will take him and stash him on there.
Damn.
And
that one. I should have thrown out some fake news there.
Yeah, you probably should have.
Been like, oh, you didn't hear Donta Foreman just tripped and fell.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
To practice.
His leg fell off. They're trying to put it back.
I knew better than to list out who the guys who I was looking at this time, so Travis couldn't back his way into having me choose the wrong one.
We saw Peyton Barber go after Deontay Foreman, and then the Rams defense, followed by Jerick McKinnon, and now Big Travy's pick in the 10th round, double-digit round. What are you kind of thinking when you get to these later draft positions, these later rounds in the draft? What are you kind of thinking? Are you trying to find handcuffs for your guys? Are you looking to take some flyers? Is it still a best available kind of thing? What are you trying to do in these later rounds?
Yeah, I was going to go AP to try and build my running back position out a little bit more for depth, but really I'm just looking at some of the guys here, and I know, wide receiver is deep, but I really like Deshaun Jackson. I think the upside there is really good in the Philly offense. Yeah. And already out of OTAs, they're saying his relationship was really good with Carson Wentz. So I'm kind of on that. And then, the AP, the thinking there is like, yeah, I could get the depth for AP, but like, what's the upside there?
Yeah.
Right.
There's no upside there at all. And so like for me, I went with best available there. And so we're just looking again at some of the players that are available here.
While you're looking at those ones,
I guess we could say that the upside is an RB2, right? Because that's what we saw last year. But what that requires is that Geis is not there. Chris, the path isn't as simple with that.
And they unexpectedly ran the entire offense through Adrian Peterson last season.
Right.
Their quarterbacks went down. Their running backs went down. He was literally the best offensive weapon that they had. And they have had a whole year now to plan for that. And you do not plan for Adrian Peterson to be your main offensive weapon in
If you can help
2019.
it. Yeah, if you can help it.
If you can help
Right,
it.
right.
So different scenario for sure. We saw after Deshaun Jackson go, Adrian Peterson, who we were thinking about, Jameis Winston, Phillip Rivers to close out the 10th round, starting the 11th with Golden Tate, followed by Kiki Kute, Dante Moncrief. Travie, you selected Matt Breida here.
Yeah, have Tevin Coleman. Want to kind of handcuff my guy and Tevin Coleman with Matt Breida, who we know was successful in the Shanahan offense. And I honestly think he projects. Like, I know McKinnon got paid last year, and some people are still McKinnon truthers, but we've just never seen McKinnon be healthy and suit up for a full 16. And Matt Breida, we've never seen healthy, but never missed his time. Like,
Right,
so
yeah.
like Matt Breida is a warrior out there. And I wanted to protect, running back is not a strength of my team. So I wanted to protect the running backs I do have.
Nice. We saw the Chargers defense go after that, followed by James Washington, Tom Brady, setting up Johnny's pick. You took Nyheim Hines here.
Yeah. Really like Nyheim Hines. Been a big fan of his going back to his college days.
Pop Warner days.
Yeah, Pop Warner days. Big fan. He's going to, listen, we know what his role is, and he's carved out a really good role on a really good offense. He's a third down pass catcher back, and so he doesn't present a tremendous or stupendous amount of upside, but I don't need that upside right now. Right now, I'm just searching for an RB2 to fill in that spot, and I think Nyheim Hines can do that depending on matchups. So that's why I selected that.
All right. We saw Alexander Madison taken next, Curtis Samuel, then Emmanuel Sanders, Ben Roethlisberger to close the 11th. Starting the 12th with Devin Funchess, then the Baltimore Ravens defense, Ito Smith, TJ Hawkinson, setting up Johnny for your 12th round pick. Walk us through your mind right now.
So right now, I'm looking at. I'm gonna get my quarterback finally, and
what are you looking for a quarterback when you're taking one of these value picks in the later rounds?
so I am literally swinging for the fences. I am trying to find a guy that has a chance to finish top 3. And so that's why I'm willing to wait on all these quarterbacks in all my drafts, because if I swing and I miss, there's so many quarterbacks that I can play weekly matchups that it's not a big deal. Whereas all these other positions, you swing and you miss, and it's a little harder to recoup. You can't just go to the waiver wire. So with that being said, there's a guy on here. Listen, I like Dak Prescott, but do I think he can finish as a top 3 quarterback, top 4 quarterback, top 5 quarterback? It's going to be a little bit of a stretch for me. But Lamar Jackson is a guy, especially if I'm pairing with, Mark Ingram. I got that whole running back field right there in Baltimore. And I think Lamar Jackson does present the upside of, a top 5 quarterback.
Very fun.
Yeah.
It's exciting. Put a little bit of hot sauce on that draft. We saw after Lamar Jackson, Mecole Hardman, followed by Devin Singletary, Greg Zuerlein off the board, first kicker there. Travis, 12th pick. You went with Paris Campbell.
Yeah, I like Paris Campbell. I think he projects to be a role that Indy will use right away. They had a very, very bad run of luck with their wide receivers last year. They weren't very good for Andrew Luck, so he had to rely heavily on the tight ends, which we know he loves to do either way. But Paris Campbell is speedy. He's great in the slot. These are all things that are going to be fantastic. And if you're open, Andrew Luck's going to find you, and I think he's got a good shot to be open a lot in this offense.
There you go. Dak Prescott went after that, followed by Trey Burton and Austin Hooper to close out the 12th, starting the 13th with the Minnesota Vikings defense, followed by Anthony Miller, Delaney Walker, setting up Travis's 13th round pick. You went with Justice Hill. Walk us through that one.
Yeah, Justice Hill is a very talented running back that Baltimore took, and a guy that could actually end up being a guy that usurps some of the backs ahead of him if things go his way. Mark Ingram obviously got paid the big bucks. He'll be their starter. He'll get the first crack at it. But Justice Hill is talented, can catch the ball really well as well. So could just find himself in a third down role right away, and then maybe get a little bit more carries as the season goes on.
All right. Tyrell Williams was taken afterwards, followed by Jimmy Garoppolo and the Cleveland Browns defense. 13th round pick now, Johnny. What are you thinking here? Are you thinking you're going with a high upside quarterback? Are you ever thinking about taking 2 dice rolls, maybe grabbing like a Mitch Trubisky or somebody else who has a chance to be that top guy? Or are you going to ride with Lamar Jackson for a while and see how that plays out?
I'm going to. I mean, I don't mind it. I am a big fan of Mitch Trubisky. He was going to be, instead of Ben Roethlisberger being taken at the 11-12, if that was Lamar Jackson, I would have went Mitch Trubisky instead. But no, just because there's so much action on the waiver wire, I'm going to only draft. I don't want to miss out on a dart throw at a key position like a wide receiver or running back. So therefore I wouldn't draft 2 quarterbacks. What I'm actually going to do, and I'm going to take I didn't even know that I would be doing this at all. I kind of feel gross about this right now. But I'm going to take Justin Tucker and just keep, why not? I got the running backs for the Baltimore Ravens. Might as well get the kicker.
Quarterback.
Hey, as long as they're on offense, I have a shot at scoring some fantasy points. So
there you go.
So there we go. And
Justin Tucker's great.
Yeah, Justin Tucker, he's a guy.
All right, well, you're thinking about those. You're taking to the 14th. After Justin Tucker, we saw Raquel Armstead go, Kirk Cousins, Dion Lewis, Giovanni Bernard to close out the 13th. 14th started with the Dallas Cowboys defense, Harrison Butker after, followed by Will Lutz, the Green Bay Packers. Setting up now, Johnny Game Time Hicks is picking the 14th round.
I'm going to go ahead and
Marquise Brown?
Marquise Brown. Exactly. I should. Just to do it. Just to show Whisper Nation what not to do. No.
Do it.
I'm going to take the Philadelphia Eagles defense. I really like them this year. And, I'll take my pick of players in the 15th round that I want to throw my dartboard at. I'm still trying to decide on a couple of guys that are up to no good. So I don't want to make trouble in the neighborhood.
I mean, I
got one pick left, and I'm not scared.
Everyone gets scared. You better move.
Because I'm rolling with Isabella.
You
heard it here.
We saw after the Eagles defense and that wonderful rap go Kai Fairbairn, Steven Gostkowski, Darwin Thompson. Travis took Jake Elliott, the kicker for the Eagles.
Yeah, Eagles should be good on offense.
Yeah.
Should be in a lot of opportunity. Kind of similar to Butker last year, where they were a top tier offense, and Butker ended up a really good kicker. Sometimes you fade that, right? Sometimes you say, well, the kicker's only going to get a bunch of extra points, so it's not really that valuable.
Sometimes you get a little faded. All right?
Sometimes you draft the kicker, though, if he's going to be on a good offense.
Yeah. I like it.
Texans defense went after, followed by Anna Vinatieri and Robbie Gould to close out the 14th round. Final round began with Josh Allen, Greg Olsen, Giorgio
Tavecchio.
Atlanta kicker. I like him.
Yeah, he's kind of got a cool name, so that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
That's
especially when you're drafting kickers.
For him.
Yeah. So what are you walking through here? What are you looking up? You're taking your...
Well, I'm trying to really look at the schedule for some of these teams, the defenses that are left. Broncos play the Cardinals in week 1, and while I thought this would be a good matchup last year, the Cardinals project to be a very vastly improved offense, and I don't want to pick the team that has to be the first team to deal with this new offense. So I won't be taking the Broncos.
So right now, basically what you're doing, though, is looking at the schedule to
for the first week, first couple,
like a streaming defense. You might
right,
You
exactly.
could go the opposite of that, though, Travis, and take the Cardinals who are playing
the Cardinals,
Broncos, and Joe Flacco.
I would
Joe
if
Flacco.
Patrick Peterson wasn't suspended at this point. I just don't feel too great about that.
Listen, I'm glad that we don't get tested with PEDs here on podcasts. It's the things I do for Austin's face when he was like, what? I'm just kidding. I don't take PEDs for podcasts. I take them for other reasons.
Don't take PEDs. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
You're gonna crush that microphone.
I'm actually gonna do what Johnny said. I'll just take the Cardinals because it's defense, and I don't care, and I'll drop them if I don't like them anyway. So
they had some playmakers over on.
Yeah, I mean,
Arizona squad.
Listen, Cardinals have been good on defense for the last few years. When they're zoned in and the offense is there to back them up, and they're not putting them on the field
Chandler
too much.
Jones is still there. Patrick Peterson's still there.
Terrell
well.
Suggs is now with them. Like they got Vance Joseph, who is a great coordinator, and just couldn't cut it as a head coach.
You might
now.
be rocking that defense all year.
Yeah, maybe.
Marquise
Might be
Goodwin.
dropping them after week 1.
Maybe. Marquise Goodwin, followed by Marquise Brown. Devontae Parker setting up Johnny's pick. Spoiler alert, he took Kenny Stills. Take us through that.
We talked about it on our show, on our podcast about, I'm kind of secretly, although it's not so much of a secret anymore, I kind of like this the Miami Dolphins offense. I know that one of these wide receivers, I'm not saying that all three of them will be good. I know that one of them will be good, especially if Ryan's Fitzmagic, my boy, is the quarterback. He will make one of them fantasy relevant. He usually does that in his career. And so I'm just going to take a stab. I am kind of a little bit buying the hype this year on Devontae Parker. It's weird. I probably shouldn't. Every single year you hear this massive hype, but at the same time, this is the first year he's had a really good quarterback, or dare I say, a really good at moments quarterback, and Fitzmagic, who can actually get him the ball. So that is. I was kind of going to throw a dartboard at that because why not? I'm in the 15th round, but that was taken right before me. So Kenny Stills, he was right there as well.
Kenny's the boy.
Just maybe I get lucky and you back into it. It's not your first choice.
Nice.
Sometimes it's your second, and that's life.
Sometimes that's the right one.
Yep.
Mason Crosby was taken afterwards. Kalen Ballage, Mitch Trubisky, and to close it out, Michael Badgley, kicker for the Chargers. Great mock draft, y'all.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
All right, let's hear from your words first, Travis, and then Johnny.
Okay.
Break your team down, and then I will give my illustrious crowning to the one that I think is better based on my feelings.
No logic or stats.
He's the sheriff.
There might
He's
be.
the judge. That's why
There might not be.
That's why he grew out
Stats
the
make me feel
mustache.
things.
He had to grow out that mustache because he's the new sheriff in town.
I grew out the mustache because your mom said she liked it.
Oh, get
My
bodied.
mom watches these shows.
I love Lisa.
Yeah, and she
And I hope
watches him for the mustache.
I hope she's satisfied with this because Lisa is an angel and she deserves everything in this world,
Well,
including this mustache. She wanted it. She got it.
Johnny, you don't have to call him dad, but you will respect him.
All right.
Anyways, I'll talk about my team right now.
Here, folks.
Travis, break it down for us.
Yeah, so I went with Ezekiel Elliott, and this totally shifted the way I was going to do this draft once I did. Once Zeke fell to me at 4, I was feeling kind of frisky, feeling kind of lucky and ready to rock and roll. So I went with the 3 elite strategy, made a top-heavy team. I drafted Zeke in the first, Kelce in the second, and Patrick Mahomes in the third. I thought this was all appropriate. It was deep second for Kelce, which I've been seeing him going at the late end or at the beginning of the second. Mahomes I've seen go in the second, and I got him in the third. So I felt really good about where I could get these elites at this turn, and I let my draft kind of go from there based on that team. Winded up getting my first wide receiver as Stephon Diggs. Really like that upside there for Diggs. Definitely a guy that could end up a wide receiver 1. Tevin Coleman is my running back 2. Obviously a little risk here when I went top heavy that my running backs would not shape out. But I think anything beyond your running back 1, you're going to be trying to take chances on some swings here, and that's what Coleman was for me. And then I just try to stack, wide receivers and running backs with upside. DJ Moore, chance to be a number 1 in Carolina. Allen Robinson should be the number 1 in Chicago. Miles Sanders, tremendous upside on a good Philly offense. Carlos Hyde, if something were to happen to Damian Williams, you're looking at an RB1 in Andy Reid's system. Love that. Deshaun Jackson, coming back home to Philadelphia, a team I project to be very good on offense, and this is a touchdown upside. We know Wentz can chuck the ball, and we know Deshaun Jackson is one of maybe the all-time greats at deep ball proficiency, so I love that. Matt Breida to kind of shore up that San Fran backfield for me. I took the 2 guys I think are most likely to end up the guys there. Paris Campbell is my wide receiver on a good offense. Could be a nice slot piece for them. Justice Hill, some really good upside on a team that will rush a ton in Baltimore. And then Jake Elliott, kicker on a good offense. And the Arizona Cardinals. Credit to you, Johnny, playing Denver week 1. Really like that pick.
And that's it for Big Travy's team there. Nicely done. All right, son. Let me know about yours.
So I got the 8th spot. I was kind of put in a pickle right away. And, the cliff for running backs fell off with Melvin Gordon. So I didn't necessarily want to go that route. And Devontae Adams is my number 1 ranked wide receiver. So selected him, tier-based. And then, surprisingly, in the second round, Juju Smith fell to me. And I also have Juju ranked pretty high. I didn't intend to start the draft off that way, but just the way that it was going, I had to take the value. And that's one of the biggest things for me. I want to go with value over need. And then in the 3rd round, Tyreek Hill was still there, and I couldn't pass up the chance of having 3, arguably top 5 wide receivers. It wouldn't surprise any of us if those 3 guys were 3 of the top 5 at the end of the year. So then I was kind of behind the 8 ball, though, with my running backs after doing that. And so I had to grab Mark Ingram, who I think is a very solid running back. I needed some stability there. And then O.J. Howard, I went ahead and I just thought it was a really good value. And seeing how my team was shaping up, I don't often draft like this. So I wanted to give Whisper Nation a point of view on what it could look like. And so I did. And then I had Rashad Penny in the 6th. Again, just trying to take a bunch of dart throws. So I grabbed Rashad Penny, Royce Freeman, and Austin Eckler. 3 guys that project to do well. Now, they might not necessarily hit that ceiling, but again, I'm just searching for, with the high production I should get out of my wide receivers, I am just looking for a solid amount of production from week to week. I don't necessarily need them to hit their ceiling, but if they do, then my team should be really, really good. I also was able to grab Donta Foreman, Naheem Hines, as well as at the running back position. And then Marquez Valdez-Scantling in the 9th. I like him a lot this year, and it gives, listen, my wide receivers are going to be on buys. I need at least one guy to fill in, and I like what I'm getting from Marquez Valdez-Scantling, or at least what I've projected for him to get. Quarterbacks, came off. A lot of these teams were taking double quarterbacks, which is a little frustrating when you're mock drafting, but you roll with it. And so Lamar Jackson ended up falling to me, but I do like that value there, even if it was single quarter. Most people take one quarterback, maybe a couple people in your league will take 2, but I still like Lamar Jackson. He presents tremendous upside. I stuck with my Baltimore theme here and got Justin Tucker, kicker. He's always a solid kicker, so why not? Philadelphia Eagles, they done a lot to that defense over the offseason, and so I think that they could have a good year. And then I took a stab at Kenny Stills. So, I don't need another wide receiver, but if he is the one that pops off in Miami and is the guy, then I'm looking at a super stacked team here. So, I like how I end up, drafting this overall.
Thanks, Johnny, for breaking that down. Nice draft, both of you. When comparing these 2 squads, I see some similarities, specifically at the running back dart throw kind of strategy with it there. Mm-hmm. Travy, Ezekiel Elliott, that's stable there. But then for your RB2, you got a couple of these dart throws over here. Tevin Coleman, it's not a dart throw. That's a decent shot there who could have very high upside. The floor also could be low there because it's a new running back coming over. It is going to be a committee system, at least in the beginning. But I think there's a lot of reasons to think that Tevin Coleman is going to be the lead guy who's over there, and that's why you're snagging him in the 5th and not in the 3rd or the 2nd or something like that. So I understand that. And then the Miles Sanders, Carlos Hydes, these guys as well. Miles Sanders a little differently. That's who do you think is going to be the lead dog in that committee, or who's going to emerge out? Carlos Hyde, you are going to need something unexpected to happen. You're going to need to have an injury go down or a drastic shift in the depth chart because Damian Williams just doesn't end up being what we're hoping he will be.
Right.
So you see a handful of these guys here, but that's the nature of the game there. The receivers, even though you went a little bit later on them, Travis, you were able to, in my opinion, get some really solid ones with Stephon Diggs, DJ Moore, Allen Robinson, all could be solid guys. And then your big heavy hitters there in the second and third with Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. I like that a lot. Comparing it over to Johnny's core of the wide receivers. Johnny's wide receivers here, I mean, he got very, very fortunate for how these guys fell to him, especially for how he ranked them, of Juju being his number 2. I know Tyreek Hill is a little bit lower on Johnny's rankings, 9 last time I looked. But we also know what Tyreek Hill's upside is, and there's nobody who's going to have the potential to drop 30 points on you any week, maybe even definitely of all wide receivers, and maybe even running backs too.
Yeah.
Guy who can hit you with 30, bam, there,
Right.
three plays. You know what I mean? So I like that. And then when we go to the running backs here, Mark Ingram is a solid guy there in the 4th round. There are question marks over there. This is a new back over there. There is other talent in the backfield, at least other bodies in the backfield. And so we'll see there. But I like that there. It could be, this could be an RB1. Rashad Penny, if anything does go down with Chris Carson, or Rashad Penny just shows up and does what they were hoping he would do at the beginning of last year, Rashad Penny's the guy. He doesn't really get a lot of attention, but looking at him closely near the end of last season, Rashad Penny can play. Yeah. This guy's pop is real. Royce Freeman, it's a dart throw. It's a dart throw pick over there as well. Austin Eckler, not a dart throw because this has value on its own. This is the scat back there. And then Deontay Foreman, another kind of a dart throw there, rounded out. For this one there, your running backs are in a similar position. Big Travy definitely has the lead there with Ezekiel Elliott, the general number 1 running back feeling there. The second one, Tevin Coleman, pretty good. Johnny's, Mark Ingram is the 1. Rashad Penny or Austin Eckler, one of these guys, there's a 2. I'm rambling a little bit right now to really give a honest ruling of what I think, because it's a tough call on this one. And here's what I'm going to say. I think that Travis's team, as it is right now, scores more points. If this is Travis's team throughout the year, he's going to score more points than Johnny's team is. But I think that Johnny's team has an ability to be a little bit more flexible. And this is built in with Travis's strategy. When you go with the top-heavy route, you're going to be investing early picks in a tight end and a quarterback. Yeah. And these are guys who you can get on the waiver wire any week and get guys who can play. Johnny didn't do that. Johnny waited until, he didn't take his quarterback until the 12th round, and OJ Howard there in the 5th. So if you need to grab anybody else or need to make some flexibility appear, stream a quarterback, grab another tight end who's available. He has that ability as where you're not going to want to do that. I don't think there's anything reason to believe Patrick Mahomes and Kelce aren't going to ball out. But just
if they don't, then,
I've taken Aaron Rodgers in the 2nd round. I've taken Aaron Rodgers in the 1st round years, and then he's not a top 5 quarterback. So, and
regression is coming for Kansas City. We know that, but I think there's also room for positive regression in Mahomes' game, because he didn't rush all that much last year either, and we know it's a part of his game, and he's capable of doing it. So I think there's capability to go either way, and so that's where it kind of evens out. With Tyreek Hill news, I had to take Mahomes in the 3rd because I think that's the one thing you could look at and say, well, if Hill's gone for a portion of the year, Mahomes looks like a guy that could come take a big step back. But
yeah, I mean, we know what you did here. You went with the 3 elites. You went with the top heavy approach, and I think that your team scores more points right now. I think that Johnny has.
I agree that
though.
Johnny has the ability to close the gap.
Yeah,
at any given week, especially with Tyreek Hill and Devontae Adams. I mean, that touchdown upside alone could win you weeks just with those two.
Upsides from those guys is really high. I'm going to give the nod on this one to Johnny.
No, I thought you just said Travis. You just completely threw a curveball. That was like the Pat Mahomes no look pass there. You were literally looking to this side of the field. I'm on the left side, and all of a sudden, you never know.
Like you said, it doesn't have to make sense. He's just going to do how he feels.
Exactly how he feels.
And I really appreciate, the fact that you brought your dad on the show here to call the drafts, and that's why you're winning all these mock drafts.
He does poorly. It reflects negatively on me. So.
All right, Whisper Nation, thank you so much for joining us in this mock draft.
We want to know what you guys thought we did. Comment below so we can get an opinion on what you think, how we think, or how you think we did.
As well as go on over to the fantasywhisperers.com and check out the draft kit. You won't be disappointed. It's at an all-time low of $10, and I trust me, you will not find a better deal on anybody's. This isn't like one of those old updated magazines. We update this. We put rankings. We put all of that stuff all in one draft kit. Go to thefantasywhispers.com and check it out. All right, Whisper Nation, until next time, that's Austin Cyr. That's Big Travy. I'm Johnny Game Time Hicks, and we're the Fantasy Whispers, and we're out. Peace.
Peace.
Love you so much.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Whisperers podcast. You can hear more from John and Travis on Google Play, SoundCloud, and iTunes. You can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at TF Whisperers.